Hey everyone, and welcome to my reading vlog for Piper at the Gates of Dusk by Patrick Ness. This is the latest one in the Chaos Walking series. I did a reading vlog for the original trilogy, so today I'm going to be taking you with me as I read the continuation. I quite frankly have absolutely no idea what this book is about. I just know that this one is still set in the Chaos Walking world. It says something is coming on the back, and if I remember rightly, this has got something to do with Todd and Viola's children, but please don't quote me on that because I'm not entirely sure if I am right on that. Either way, it is still set in the same world, and it is a continuation of the story, and that is all I really know and all I really want to know, so let's get into it. I will say I am slightly scared of this one because obviously this one is a continuation of Chaos Walking, and that series is very, very dark in a lot of places, and I've got no doubt this one is going to be as dark, but we shall see. So I'm just putting off opening it right now, so let's just get into it. I've just opened the book, and can we just appreciate for a second these end papers, because damn, those are gorgeous. I did not know that was coming when I opened this book up, so those are absolutely stunning. Can we just have a moment? I mean, this bit is obviously blank, but those end papers, damn, they are good. Okay, so I've just opened the first page, and I like that we've still got the noise and how it looks here with all of the different fonts and all of it sort of being on top of each other. I think that is a really, really good way to explain the noise and sort of show it like visually. I really, really love that, so I love that that's continuing into this book. But what does it say? It says, they'll laugh at your face soon, you have no future here, your parents don't really love you, adopting you was a mistake, they'll just laugh, you freak, you freak, you freak, they're lying. Okay then, so we've got the usual sort of, this is going to be dark, this is going to be dark, but what is this? Wait a minute, it says something at the bottom, I've just noticed. It says, the noise doesn't follow me into waking, but the echoes of it do. Okay then, I am intrigued. Okay, I'm definitely intrigued. I was already intrigued anyway, but that is one hell of an opening page, to say the least, so I'm going to dive in, see what I think, and hopefully get more than a page before I need to comment on something else. So we've just had these two boys, you've got Ben and you've got Max, and they've just seen a god come running out from the forest. They're on fire and this kind of thing, and I'm guessing it's this thing here, who's got like no skin or anything else, which is kind of gross to be fair, but like Patrick Ness has never sort of shied away from any kind of like violent or gory imagery, so yeah, I was expecting that. But so they've just had this forest fire, sort of like this guy on fire has just come running through, and they've just basically injured themselves, and they don't have any noise, and they're not hearing any noise. And then Ben, our main character, who's the one who's like narrating all of this, has said that he started being able to hear actual voices, and like definitely human sounding voices, and some of them are having arguments, some are laughing, some are lonely, some are in the crowds. He can see flashes of colour, images too blurry to make out properly, impressions of sky and land and blood, figures, this kind of thing. And he goes, it's the noise. This is the noise a bunch of men would make if they were all in one place together, if none of them had taken the cure. Now, I can't remember, but I don't think there was an actual physical cure that worked at the end of the last one. I may have to go back and rewatch my last vlog, because it's been a while and I've read a lot of books since then, so, but I'm pretty sure there was there a cure? Or was it the mayor lying? I've now forgotten if the mayor was lying about a cure or not. I'm definitely going to have to go back and rewatch that video. But interesting. So very, very interesting. And also what's very interesting here as well is our main character is not speaking verbally. He is signing, or at least attempting to sign, while he's got a broken wrist, because he can't sign with like just one hand. So that is very interesting. Love a bit of representation. Obviously I don't know what type of representation is going to be, if it's deaf or hard of hearing. Obviously he heard his brother talk, so maybe it's mutism or something like that, maybe it's something else. I obviously don't know what it's going to be at the moment, I'm sure it'll be explained later, but I do love representation, so hopefully it's done well. Obviously I'm not going to be own voices like reviewing that, so hopefully it's done respectfully. I think it will be, because Patrick Ness usually is very respectful of these things, so we shall see. But already intrigued. I'm 21 pages in. We've already got a character who is signing. We've also got the fact that the noise has been cured, and then also their pop, aka their dad, still has noise, and that's why they still live out the sticks, because he can't stand the silence in the city. So very intrigued, very intrigued. Great start to this. I'm rambling. I'm gonna shut up. I've been rambling for 3.5 minutes about this, so I'm gonna shut up and carry on reading. Okay, so it's now been answered within the actual book. So it's saying there was a cure originally made from plants and native chemicals, but that got lost in the war. That happened at the end of the last book. And then they're saying that once the new settlers arrived, they made a new cure, a genetic one, that was way more effective than the first one. And once you took it, there was no going back. Though there was some side effects for some of them. And then Ben's just gone, well, never mind about that for now. So very interesting to see what that means. But yes, I was right, there was a cure in the original book, and then it's it was lost and they've made a new one, so the characters in here are mostly probably not going to have noise. So interesting with that one. And then Ben also goes on to say that his pop, aka his dad, is from Prenticetown, and there's only one surviving person from Prenticetown, and that is Todd. So Todd is this main character's father, which makes sense because his name is Ben, and obviously Todd was raised by a man named Ben. And it's taken me everything, I won't lie, to not make an Uncle Ben joke, because obviously Tom Holland was playing Todd in the Chaos Walking movie. He's obviously Spider-Man, Uncle Ben, and then Todd being raised by a man named Ben. Just, it's really difficult to not make the joke, I won't lie. It's really difficult, but on to the point though, I do like that we are following Todd's, presumably Viola's children. Very interesting. And I do like that we've got this idea that there is now a cure and things like this, and things have moved on. But interesting that Ben is now hearing noise again from potentially people, but the people aren't there. Okay then. Again, being intrigued. I keep on saying that. That's going to be the word of this. I can feel it. It's going to be intrigued. There is always a word somewhere in one of my vlogs. Whenever I do one, it gets repeated over and over and over again, and I feel like this time it's going to be intrigued. But anyway, I do like that we've got an explanation for this. I like that we've now had this idea that there has been a cure for the noise, this kind of thing. Very interested to see where this is going. Max is trans, so they've said like, Max is smaller than me even though we're only 6 months apart. I'm tall and too skinny. He's closer to the ground and harder to move. He's tough and he's always been tough, but aside from when he told us we needed to call him Max and change a few of the words we used when we referred to him, he's always been smiling, happy, kinda anxious Max. So Max is trans. I love it when Patrick Ness puts representation into his books. There wasn't as much in the original books, I will say, so I love that he's put a trans character in this one. I love that. And he's also made a point of saying that just because Ben doesn't talk doesn't mean he's stupid, and that he doesn't have a voice. He's got he's obviously got his sign, he's got his facial expressions, things like this, and he's also got a machine that when he types into it, it will speak for him as well. So he is not stupid, and he still has a voice, he just can't physically talk. And I love that, because there is such an ableist stereotype with that a lot of people believe that just because you can't physically speak, it means that you are not intelligent or you don't have a voice, and people speak over others and things like this. I've seen many stories about this online with stuff like this happening to people who use other forms of language to talk to people. So I'm really glad that that was also written in here, and he made a point of having Ben say even though he can't physically speak, he still has a voice, and I love that so much. So Todd, Viola and Max and Ben have just spoken to the land essentially, and they have said that there is a myth about this god coming out from the from the trees and this kind of thing, but it's been very much a myth for centuries and generations now. And then all of a sudden a god has just turned up, run through their place, destroyed the house and jumped into the river. And like it did the first time round, when it jumps into the river, there is suddenly noise. So I've got no idea what's going on here, but that is intriguing, especially when you consider as well that Viola, who is now actually one of the councillors and works on the Science Council, go Viola, love that for her so much. But I love that she's also now said as well that there was an asteroid a few days ago or a few weeks ago that seems to be getting closer, and it looks to be like a ship made of rock, and ever since that has happened, children including Max have started having terrifying nightmares. So I don't think it's going to be an actual god, because these books don't generally go into the gods, but it's definitely going to be something like that. But I don't know what, but it's very intriguing, very interesting setting all of this up, definitely. I also have to say I really like how Patrick Ness has handled an older Todd and Viola. So you've got the fact that Todd does not like going into the city, he doesn't like being anywhere near other people because they still very much sort of look at him weirdly because of everything that went down. He is also still, like, he still has his noise, so everyone can still hear that from him. I love that Viola is now working as a scientist essentially in the city. I love that. I love that we also got a mention as well of the branding metal that she's got on her arm, and they've still said they cannot remove that and it is a permanent reminder. I really like that as well. My phone's now ringing, so I'll continue this in a minute. Text dealt with, as I was saying, what was I saying? Yeah, I really like that we're still getting references to that original book with obviously the branding bracelet that is on Viola, and then also the land as well. I really like that we're getting that reference. I also like that we've got this reference as well to Viola still not really liking the King of the Land either after what they did to Todd and things like this. And I really like how Patrick Ness is subtly weaving in what happened last time to remind me and readers in general what happened last time without having to read the previous book, because I do not have time to read the previous book. It is very chunky. I've got a very, very busy few months ahead of me, so I do not have time for chunky books, unfortunately. And I was going to go and rewatch my old vlog about it, but I'm glad that he's actually reminding us within the book itself. I love it when authors do that without it being like info dumpy or anything else. It's very much really nicely woven into the story itself, which I really enjoy. And yeah, this has set up a lot of very interesting things in its first 50 pages, so I am loving this so far. I will say I am loving being back in the world again. I'm loving seeing Todd and Viola again and seeing how they're getting on, seeing them like have Ben and Max as well. I also love that we've got Trans Rep in here as well, who's about to become the POV character as well, so really, really loving this. I'm loving the representation. I obviously cannot speak at the moment as to how good the representation is. I will be looking up Own Voices reviewers for this to sort of see more about it, but I'm loving the representation so far. As far as I know, it is very good. I am loving the storyline, and I am definitely, is that word again that's going to be repeated throughout this vlog, I apologise, but I'm very, very, very intrigued. First of all, I really enjoy Max's point of view. I really like how it's so different from Ben's, and we're getting more like run-on sentences and things like this. I'm really, really enjoying that and hearing his point of view of things. I think that's a really fascinating one. I really, really enjoy it. But also, we have now got them there now on a hill because they've had to leave the farm and get to the city because it may be safer there from these gods. And he's just met like Taper and Tara, who are the new religious leaders like children, and she does not sound like good news. She's wanted to genocide all of the land, which is obviously not a good thing, definitely following in the footsteps of the previous mayor and people like that, so definitely taking immediate dislike to her, and I feel like she's going to be a new villain for this alongside her children, so that'll be interesting to see. I'm definitely thinking they're going to be the villains of this, and that they're going to maybe like rise more to power or anything else as the book goes on. I don't know, that is my current guess. But anyway, they've just been on the hill and they are talking to Arrow, who him and his little sister did also see a god screaming and sort of like running through the woods. So it's not just Ben and Max who have seen this now, there is also other people who have seen it as well, and that means it's definitely a thing. It's definitely happening. Obviously, we knew it was happening anyway because our main characters had seen it. But it means it's happening to other people now as well. And I just know this is going to end up turning on the land again. And people are going to turn on the land. We've already got Wingard, who is the religious leader, automatically going, it's definitely something to do with the land. Like the whole nightmares thing, it's something to do with the land. We should kill them all. All of this kind of thing. And I just know that that is going to definitely sort of pick up steam because that is these kind of books that, because that is what happens in these books. These types of horrible, horrendous ideas end up being picked up, and then people end up getting very, very xenophobic, and we all know where that's going. So feel like that is where this is going. I could be wrong, but I think that is where this is going at the moment. But my main thoughts at the moment that I definitely know for sure is that I really like Ben and Max's differing points of view. I'm really liking both of them. I love the representation we're seeing in here, and I'm also enjoying seeing them learn more about the gods as other people are starting to see them, and also them trying to figure out what this glyph ship is in the sky. I've got no theories on that at the moment, but I'm liking unraveling the mystery and seeing more about it. I'm also not trusting Burley the mayor. I don't know if it's just this series has sort of embedded it in me to never trust a mayor whatsoever, because they are 9 times out of 10 evil, because basically both the mayors we ever saw in the original Chaos Walking were evil as hell. So I'm just expecting every single mayor to just be evil, so I'm just immediately going, well, I don't trust Burley. And I mean, we do know that he is already lying to people, so I am very much on the idea of don't trust him. So I'm probably going to end up right on that one as well. I don't know, I'm hoping I'm not, but I'm probably going to be. But also the fact that we now know that they're now thinking that potentially that new ship is an invasion. Yeah, that's not good. That's really not good. I mean, it was going to end up being something like that, I know, but that is really not good if that's going to be an invasion. That is not going to help matters whatsoever. So the Sky has just turned up to tell Todd and everyone about the story that the land have about their children having these nightmares, and how it's a sign that something bigger is coming, and something is definitely coming, and they don't have any words for it anymore because it happened so long ago, but it did happen. And now Todd is going to go off with Max to go find their grandfather, who may have more information, while Ben is going to stay in the town with Viola. And that chapter literally just ends saying we didn't know it was the biggest mistake we could ever make. And I'm like, it always is in this. Whenever they split up, something bad happens, and something bad is going to happen. Clearly, they've just said it, but I mean, I'm still sat here going, what could be so bad? But then again, it's this series, something always bad is going to happen, but I knew not to trust the mayor. I knew not to trust the mayor because he is lying to people, he's trying to control people, he's not as bad as Prentice was, but he's still pretty bad. I still don't like him very much, so I'm glad I was right to not trust the mayor, and every single time Marjorie opens her mouth, I'm like, shut up, you bigoted asshole. You know, she's so bigoted. Which obviously is a thing that happens in these books, because there's so many bigots and things like this, even after everything that happened. In the first series, you're still going to have bigoted people, people trying to control others, this kind of thing, and it's definitely happening again. And I love that Todd and Viola are having these conversations and are saying it's happening again, or like Todd saying, look, this is like cyclical, it's going to happen again, and Viola's going, no, it's not. If we expect it to, it's just going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I really like they're having these conversations. I think it really sort of speaks to both of their experiences throughout the first series and things like this. I love that Todd is still very much going, I do not trust any authority figure ever. I trust like 4 people in the world, and that is it, and that is perfectly on point for Todd because of everything he went through. I do not blame him at all for not trusting a single person. And I do kind of get how Viola wants to trust people, because obviously she grew up on a ship, like on the way to the planet and things like this, so she's had more of an experience of less bigoted people. Even if it's not been the greatest experience in the world, she has still had that experience in a way. And I really like that we're seeing their differing points of view and seeing them argue again, and seeing them actually go over this, and we aren't just sort of skimming over the events of the first book or acting like they're absolutely fine now years after the event, because everything they went through is going to have a knock-on effect now, and it definitely is here. They're definitely like going at this in 2 different ways, or trying to go at this in 2 different ways, and trying to solve what's going on in their own way while trying to keep the kids safe and everything else. And they're just going to end up arguing about it because, like I said, they are 2 very different people. Though in saying that, I am still glad that they stayed together, because I think that was important for them to stay together. I never really sort of shipped them at all. I will say I never really shipped them, but I do like they stuck together, because I do feel like they are a good team together. So now I'm scared that they've now sort of split up and they're going in opposite directions to try and figure things out for themselves, because that is really not going to end well. I just know it's not going to end well here, so... Well, I know it's not going to end well. It's literally said at the end of the chapter, but... totally get worried, because when Patrick Ness says that something's not going to go well in a book, it's really not going to go well, especially in a book like this, in this specific series. So, we'll see what happens, but all I know is that I am now scared of what is going to happen now. So we've now got to where Ben has just turned up in terms of Grandad Ben, not Child Ben, and I found that really interesting because it was such a quick journey, to be honest, because usually these journeys take days and days and days in these books, but this book is considerably shorter than the others, so that probably makes sense. But it was really nice to see him again and to see him still in the book itself. I really like Ben as a character, and I really like seeing how he's basically sort of integrating himself with the land and being part of the conversation, and how he sort of communicates now and all of this kind of thing. I find that really fascinating, and I'm really glad we got to see him again because he is possibly one of the most fascinating characters here. So I really like that, and I also really like as well how Max is now like getting to know S as well, and S, who is another one of the land, and like Max is the first ever human child, or teenager I should say, that S has ever seen, and the first question is, what's it like to have hair? And I really like that. I really like seeing how Max in a lot of ways is taking after Todd in terms of like trying to sort of live with the land and trying to sort of like be like friends with them in a way, or not friends with them, but to like work with them and things like this. I really like how Max is very much taking after his father. I am loving that, and I'm also really loving, like I said, the return of Ben again. So yeah, this is a lot of fun. I'm really loving seeing the characters we're getting come back into this and seeing how they've grown, like I said, with Todd and Viola. I'm also liking the new characters as well, and how some of them are very much like Todd, or like the product of their parents and things like this. And then also how we've still got prejudice here, because you're never going to stamp that out anywhere, unfortunately, as much as I wish we lived basically in a Star Trek utopia where 90% of people do get along and things like this. That's not happening anytime soon, and I'm glad that's still being reflected in here, because I don't think this would be a good sequel if we were now in a utopia where everyone just got along. I don't think that would have done the series justice, so I'm glad we still are seeing that bigotry popping up and things like this, and seeing obviously our characters that we know and love older and how they are now dealing with what's happened over the last few years. What I will say though is that I'm slightly sad about the idea that Max is going, are you and Dad gonna, like, you and Viola gonna break up? Because obviously they are arguing a lot of the time at the moment, and I kind of hope they don't, because like I said earlier, I think they are a really good team together, and I don't really want them to break up, but they are arguing a hell of a lot at the moment, and they do seem to be quite sort of opposed to each other in a lot of ways in how they're dealing with stuff. But I'm hoping they work it out, because I do think Todd and Viola work better together, so I'm hoping that they do work it out in the end. It's now several days later, we're now in a heatwave in England, so if at any point I look like I am slowly dying or there is a fan going, just ignore it, it's a heatwave. I don't do well in heatwaves. But what I wanted to say was that I'm really enjoying the conversation between Ben and Max, as in Ben the granddad, not Ben the brother, but Ben the granddad, because they're talking about how Ben experiences the noise and being part of the land now, or being at least closer to the land and sort of being part of that conversation all of the time, and what that's like to experience, all of this kind of thing. I really, really love that. I also love that now that he's part of the conversation, it means that he can always see Killian as well in his memories, and even though it's not healthy, he doesn't really want to like leave that, because that means forgetting him or like not thinking about him as often, which he doesn't want to do either. And now we've also had the news that the noise can be cured, but the only way to well, the cure for the noise can be cured, I mean, but the only way to do that is if you are near death. And now Max is sort of arguing and saying like, well, why didn't you tell us about this, and all of this kind of thing. And it turns out that is why Todd and Viola are breaking up, because they're arguing about it and everything else. And I really, really love that. I love that this is now been a thing, because I was wondering with the fact that the noise is being cured on this planet, or at least that's what we thought, like that's kind of like the main point of Chaos Walking and such a unique part of it. I was kind of missing it, so I am very glad that we've now got this conversation in here about whether it's a good thing to have the noise or if it's a bad thing, this kind of thing. I really love that. And also the conversation as to whether or not they are still technically human because they weren't born on Earth and things like this. I'm really loving the conversations that we're getting in here and everything it's setting up. I am loving this. The fan is officially on. It is officially too hot. But anyway, I've just got to where Ben is actually off with Tara now, and they've gone to the river, and it turns out Tara saw a god the night before and she has seen basically it come running through, but it did not run for her, unlike when a god ran for Max and Ben and Arrow. So it's a bit of a deviation, and she's just seen it run straight through and run straight into the river, and now they're going to go and try and find out what happened there and maybe where it came from. And I feel like we're going to have our two sets of characters, Max on one side, Ben on the other, slowly working out the mystery and coming towards it together. I mean, that's generally what happens in a story, but I do like it when you see this kind of thing and you get two different sides of it, and slowly, like, the characters put it together, and then you as a reader can also put it together. So I'm very interested in this. I do quite like as well the idea of Ben and Tara. They feel very much like they're going to become friends at some point, or at least allies, and I do really like that as well. I think these two are going to work well together, even though they argue a lot and they've got a lot of opposing opinions. I do think maybe that they are going to work quite well together, because they've got these two very much opposing ideas, which means that they can then attack problems from two separate angles and maybe actually figure out the truth. So definitely liking them as well. I am definitely liking where the story is going, like I said before, and I'm also liking the evolving sort of friendship between these two. It does not remind me of Todd and Viola, but it does feel very sort of reminiscent in a way to the original Chaos Walking, where you've got these two very different characters coming from very different sort of life experiences and stuff working together. So Ben and Tara have also found a rock, and they've also found Arrow, who basically saw another god the same night and ended up having his sister taken by this god. The god jumped into the river with his sister Echo and then just disappeared, which is very intriguing to say the least. And now they've just found this rock face that's got a lightning bolt like crack in it, exactly like the one that Max has found. And now they're saying that basically they've been through this forest millions of times before, and that rock has simultaneously always been there and wasn't there last month, which is definitely weird. That is seriously weird. And then obviously they've also got this glyph that is coming towards them as well. It's like this giant asteroid potential spaceship type thing, and everybody's like all the kids are also hearing the noise in their dreams and things like this. And I'm starting to wonder if this is actually gods, because we haven't had the gods before in this whatsoever. And I'm starting to wonder if that is where this is going, and we are going to see the gods now, and the gods are going to be like starting to maybe interfere with things. But that doesn't really sort of fit in with the previous series, because that was definitely more about humans and how humans were human, to put it lightly. Humans were definitely human and territorial and all the rest of it, and bigoted, and the rest of everything that happened in that previous series. So I don't know if this is going to turn out to be the gods. I'm starting to believe that this is going to be the gods, but at the same time this could also just be another alien species that are coming in maybe, and they're trying to maybe terraform things before they get there. But at the same time, why would they have the burning gods? I have no idea. I have no idea what the hell is happening. Like, I understand what's happening, but I've got no theories whatsoever as to why this is happening. So we've just had another god appear, or one god I should say appeared in front of Ben after it took Arrow, and basically came through this like jagged line in the rock and basically sort of like got built into like a god essentially, and now it's heading towards the actual town. And then in Max's point of view, a very similar thing has happened. They've gotten to like their version of the rock, and then the rock has taken one of the members of the land and has basically become a land-like version of a god, and it's eaten a whole bunch of land people essentially, and then it's knocked Grandad Ben into the river, and it looks like Grandad Ben has now disappeared alongside that god and S. And I'm just like, so it's clearly whenever a god is being made, it sounds like it has taken a human or something who has gotten near the rock, and then it's sort of built itself out of that, which is odd to say the least. And maybe this is going to be like technological or something, I don't know. Maybe it is some kind of like weird terraforming thing. I don't understand how that would work, but maybe that's what's going on. But it's, the gods are coming from people. That's very interesting. They haven't mentioned missing people yet, but there must have been people going missing, because where else would these people be coming from? And these gods, I should say, coming from. Intriguing, to say the least. And I keep on saying that, I apologise, but intriguing. I'm sad that Grandpa Ben has died, because I quite liked Grandpa Ben. He was a fun character, and I really liked his conversations about the conversation, actually, and how he sort of experiences the world and everything else. And I just liked his character, so I'm really sad that he's gone. But then also, that whole conversation between the Sky, Todd, and Max feels very ominous, in the sense that they're saying that Max has got a good heart like Todd does. It does not make him like a chosen one, it's not fate or destiny or anything else, but he has a good heart and he always makes the right decision and he is brave and everything else, and one day he may end up having to basically save the world and change it for the better and things like this. And I'm like, that sounds really ominous, because obviously Todd was very much like a not chosen one, because it was just the fact that he was the youngest in Prentice Town, and like his upbringing and who he is as a person anyway is what made him special and what made him go on that adventure. In a lot of ways, to say the least, it was an adventure. That was not the right word I needed, but I'm gonna go with adventure for now because it is hot and my brain is not working at full capacity. But I'm really sort of like sitting here going, telling Max that he may have to change the world is a little bit ominous, especially for this series, because that means a lot is going to happen, and something, well, several bad things have already happened. Max has already seen multiple members of the land die. He's been chased by the land as well several times now. He has literally physically lost his house. His parents are divorcing, and now his granddad has died in his arms. And I'm like, if that's already happened to him, and we are this much through the book, and this is the start of a new trilogy, if I remember rightly, Max is about to go through the absolute ringer, just like Todd is, so that is extremely ominous. I am now scared for what Max is about to go through. I knew I was right to hate Burley the mayor. I knew it, because he's basically seen these gods, seen them take taper and disappear into the river and all the rest of it, and he's like, no, it's the spackle. It's definitely the spackle, because he's still using the term spackle and not the land, because of course he is. And him and Marjorie, who were having an affair apparently, and actually created the bacteria to cause the like bad dreams in the kids, I've basically gone, we need a united enemy, so we're going to go and take down the spackle. You know, the ones who are completely innocent in all of this, who've done absolutely nothing to cause any of what's going on, and they're like, we need a united enemy, we're going after them, instead of, you know, dealing with the gods situation, which is, I mean, it's stupid as hell. I will say I'm a very sort of logical person in a lot of ways. I'm autistic, my brain is very logical, so I do not understand this at all. I'm just like, what are you doing? There is an actual literal problem over there. Deal with it. Why are you creating problems with the completely innocent people who've done absolutely nothing to you in ages, and you're just being a bigot? Like, why are you being a xenophobic bigot when there is a major problem, actually two major problems, because they've got the gods and also the glyph coming, and he's like, yeah, we're going to go and attack other people who outnumber us, like, by the thousands to one. I don't know the exact maths, but there's like 1 million land and there's like 10,000 humans or something. So they seriously outnumber them. And Burley's gone, yeah, we're going to go attack them. I do not understand that logic whatsoever. I'm with I'm with Max and Ben and Todd and Viola. Go deal with the gods and the glyph. Do not be dealing with Burley's idea of, like, attacking the land, because the land have done absolutely nothing wrong. Like, what the hell is wrong with it? Like, what the hell is wrong with him and Marjorie, apart from bigotry? But what the hell? In a lot of ways, I do not blame the Sky whatsoever for saying, no, we're not helping you humans anymore, because the way the land have been treated by humanity has been awful since the minute they arrived on this planet. And considering what Burley and Marjorie just did by actually firing on several members of the land, I do not blame the Sky whatsoever for going, no, I ain't helping you anymore. There may be some of you who like us, but most of you hate us, and there's always going to be these little skirmishes, and things are going to happen and everything else, and they just don't want to be dealing with it anymore. And I fully understand that, and I'm kind of with him, to be honest, in a way, because what is the point of constantly trying to help and, like, actually try and make peace and everything else with humans who just keep on going, no, we're gonna, like, be incredibly xenophobic towards you, and we're gonna kill you at any available moment, you know, because they're humans and they're bigoted and everything else. And I fully understand where the Sky is coming from with that. I won't lie. I do not blame him whatsoever for his decision. So the gods have now also attacked the city, and they've gone after the children, and they are literally just killing all of the adults, not even caring, but they're going after the children specifically, and they are grabbing them. It seems like, anyway, they are grabbing them and taking them to the water and disappearing into the water, and then they just completely disappear. The god and the child also disappears. But they're not going after Ben whatsoever, because he literally grabbed onto Tara when the god grabbed Tara, and then the god just dropped them, and then they've gotten to the river, and then they've gone over the other side of the river. Another god has come, seen both of them, gotten Tara and jumped into the river and ignored Ben entirely. So it looks like there is going to be something to do with like maybe disabled kids or something, because in the land story it was a boy with a prosthetic leg who was ignored, and in this story Ben can't speak, so maybe it's something to do with disability or something like this, or maybe it's something to do with the cure for the noise or something. I don't know, but at least we now know it's definitely something to do with the aliens and the glyph that is coming. I'm calling them aliens. They're technically aliens to this planet. Probably. Maybe. Either way, it's definitely like something to do with the glyph, and the gods are coming because of the glyph. But why are they ignoring Ben? That is very weird. That is really, really weird. And also we've just had Wilf turn up as well. He's just saved Ben from the river. I love Wilf. Very excited to see him back, but I'm again just really intrigued. I've got no idea what's going on. I'm just intrigued. So we've now seen as well what Viola was actually doing, and she was studying them with her scanner, and she was like scanning them. They're pure noise. The gods are pure noise, which would make sense why they're going after the children. But then again, the adults, most of the adults don't have noise either, so it's not that, because everyone's had the cure. I was about to say it's because the children have had the cure, but it's actually the adults as well, so that's not the case. But they're pure noise. I did not see that coming, I will say. I probably should have done, but I did not see that coming. What I am thinking, though, is I do think the children aren't going to be dead. I think they've been transported somewhere, maybe onto the glyph. I don't know, but I do not believe the children are dead. I don't think we're going to find out in this book, though. But I don't think the children are dead right at this minute. I think they are somewhere else. I've just finished it, and oh my god, cliffhanger ending. First of all, I've got to say, Marjorie can sod off, because she literally made the situation worse by stabbing Todd for no reason whatsoever. I do not understand Burley or Marjorie's entire thing. Like, I just do not understand them, because they're like, yeah, we're in an end of world situation. Let's blame Todd and stab him. Just idiots. Absolute idiots. But anyway, with the actual ending itself, so we now know that the gods can be stopped by hitting them with the cure for the noise, and it basically makes them turn into water again, so we know that that can be solved. But now the glyph has arrived and it has stolen all of the children apart from Ben, and that cannot be good. Obviously, I'm still believing that the children are all still going to be alive, because the glyph clearly needs them for something. But they are now all gone, and Ben is now angry and has gone, they are going to regret taking my brother, and I have no doubt that he is going to rain hell on the glyph eventually when it comes to it, or at least get the children back and learn to stop them or something. But my god, that is not good. I've got no idea why they need the children. I mean, my first thought goes to Torchwood, Children of the Earth. I don't know if you've ever seen that sort of limited series, but basically an alien species comes to Earth and basically says, we want your children, and they are basically using them as sort of like drugs, batteries kind of thing. It's this kind of thing. They are using them in that sense, and they are sort of using the life force of the children. It's very much like a very, very dark series, to be fair. I don't know if I'd see Patrick Ness going that far, but then again, it's Patrick Ness. He does generally go there in a lot of ways with his books, so maybe that's what's going to happen, and it's going to turn out they need the children for like batteries or something. But I've got no other ideas apart from that. I'm happy that the land came back again to save Todd and to help the humans, because obviously Todd was saying in the noise that our choices make us and things like this, so I'm glad the land came back, and I'm glad that they're helping to save Todd, because I really hoped that Todd was going to survive, so I'm glad that that has happened. But oh my god, I need the next book now. I know this book has literally come out like last month at time of filming, if I remember rightly. And I just need the next book now, because I need to know what happens next. Because, oh my god, that was a cliffhanger ending. I need to know what the glyph is. I need to know what they want with the children. I need to know what's happening to the children. And I need to know how this is all going to end. Oh my god, that was incredible. I loved this. And I think that's where I'm going to leave this, because I would usually have a little bit more of an analysis at the end here. But like I said, it is a heat wave at the moment. It's like 30 degrees in England right now, and I am melting. So I'm going to leave it here. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me what you thought of this book the first time you read it, if you have read it, or if you don't have that much time, leave me a planet emoji down below to let me know that you were here. I'll also leave a link as well down below to all my social media if you want to check it out, or if you just want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But till next time everyone, bye!